Hey, Cezzane, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast. How are you today?
I'm super excited to be here.
Perfect. Excellent. For anyone who's listening, do you want to give people a bit of an introduction to yourself, who you are and where you are and what you do at this present moment in time?
Yes, for sure. My name is Cezzane Dior. I'm a filmmaker cinematographer. My main focus is shooting everything with my mobile phone. Currently, I'm living in USA. However, originally I'm from Mexico City, and so far I have filmed or shoot several music videos, a couple of short films. And the last thing that I did that was great to participate, what currently working on that is to participate in the Dublin Film Festival with Robert. And it's a wonderful experience, a wonderful opportunity for me. Yeah.
Excellent. And thank you so much. So, just out of curiosity, give us a bit of an insight into your journey. Like, how did you get to where you are now? Like, you mentioned that you were shooting some music videos that you work primarily with mobile phones. Has it always been that way, or have you transitioned over time into mobile phones?
Well, actually, what happened is I started to in 2018, 19, 17 to take several photographs for one of the rock bands that I made in Mexico, and I started with traditional camera, but then I got an iPhone. One of my friends told me, "Oh, what if you shoot a music video for me?" And I at that time I didn't know a lot of cinematography and filmmaking, so I started just to do what I thought that it was great. Then it was more like a personal challenge, and also because my finances it wasn't really good to get a cinema camera because at that time I need to point out that I did not think, oh, I'm going to be a filmmaker or cinematographer. I was doing just because I want to help my friend. But then let me return to the challenge is when I started to shoot, I realized one of the things that carry with a mobile phone, in this case, an iPhone, it was super easy for me and flexible instead of grabbing all the time the camera. And also in terms of how much are you going to spend in lenses compared to normal camera or cinema camera, I thought, okay, for me, I can reach more easily to start to shoot with mobile lenses and the flexibility again that you have. You can put in any place and you can go anywhere and you can just grab your phone and take the shot. So that's basically was my journey that when I started to shoot the video, I was basically walking on the street and I say to my friend, hey, this is a good location. Let me grab my phone. I start to do the scouting. So basically I started with that. Then I thought, okay, I love this. I love the flexibility. When a couple of years later, I started to properly to study the filmmaking process in cinematography, and I realized the several issues, technical issues. However, I found a framework that can work in the passing of the years to work with the mobile phones. And I'm glad to that I followed that because when I started, that's a small memory that I have. I moved in 2019 to USA. And I remember during the pandemic, I was talking with my wife and I said, imagine that what if the phone can do a the bokeh effect? What if we can do that with the phone? And a couple of years later, Samsung brought this feature. And at the same time, I found the DLF from BScript and also from Ulanzi to adapt our normal lens to the mobile phone. And with those two things, I said, okay, I have the entire creativity tools to improve my music videos. And in that moment was when I started properly to start to experiment, to shoot videos, and I think, okay, I'm going to do this because I'm real passionate, and now I enjoy it a lot. So basically that's in the summary. I think that it's more challenging for me shooting in mobile phone, and it's more flexible in any situation than just having a big camera with the all lenses and the gear.
And so when you were asked to shoot that music video for your friend, was there any, I mean, were you like, hey, I'm going to shoot this on a phone? And he was like, yeah, no worries. Or was it a case of like, he said, yeah, you can do whatever you like and you can be as creative as you want? I mean, I suppose I'm trying to ascertain is, did he ask you because you had the phone, or did he just say, hey, do you want to do something? And you were like, I'm going to use the tools I have here.
Well, two things happened that because I started to take some photographs with my phone and with the pro mode, he really liked them. He said, "Oh my goodness, this is pardon for my French, but this is so fucking amazing." And that's when he said, "If you can shoot photos like that with your phone, imagine if you can shoot me, if you can shoot a music video with that." And that's when the apps came, like Filmic Pro, or at that time I shot the music video with another app. I don't remember. It's something related to camera. I just remember that the icon, it was blue with white. And when I started to do the test, he said, right in his word, "This is badass." So he did not think, "Hey, we need to get a proper camera." He said, "You just tell me what to do. If you want me to be naked in front of your camera, I can do it because you are doing great." You know?
Well, that's a slippery slope to a very different type of filmmaking career if people are offering to take their clothes off in front of your camera. So you dodged a bullet there. Just in terms of then what were your kind of inspirations? You said you moved to LA in 2019, but what were your inspirations growing up? Like what drew you to filmmaking? What do you enjoy most? What kind of stuff do you like to watch? And what do you learn from?
Well, I can tell you that one of my mentors, virtual mentors, it was I don't, sorry, I forgot. It's something Sean, the cinematographer from Watchmen, the movie. When I
Yeah.
Watchmen, all this dark and white, I watched several times and I thought, oh, okay, I want to do this like him. I know that we find a way to make our own style, but I said to think, if I can shoot like that, I can get that light. I will feel super great. And then I started to watch Suspiria. I remember that movie Suspiria I watched. So basically, I thought, okay, I don't like very much. That's how I started to think. All the whites, like the comedy movies. I watched this dark and light to give the three-dimensional lighting. And I don't remember exactly the cinematographers, but the only thing that I remember is the movies. So every
Well, I think it was Larry Fong. Is
one
that who
from
you're thinking of for
yeah,
Watchmen?
only
Yeah.
from it was
And when you say Superior, are you watching the original or the
new
recent
version,
one?
yeah, the recent,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Eh,
yeah, sorry,
No, cool. So you're drawn to kind of the darkness of cinematography. You're drawn
yes,
to kind of the darker things. That's very much reflected, I think, in the film you've submitted the session, which is pretty dark. It's great. I mean, quick question about that. You shot a film. I mean, is that all filmed in your garage, or is that all filmed in your house, or is that?
yeah. Actually, I shot everything in my garage.
I know, but it looks great, and with the way the darkness is, it doesn't look that way. It looks like a kind of a very kind of creepy location, and it really helps the makeup effect of the being or whatever you want to call it is really really good. And it is that practical elements. Did you do those elements yourself?
Yeah, actually, I did it everything by myself. I inspired from the movies like Psycho, the look and feel. So I think, okay, if I can do something similar in terms of black and white and this kind of, uh, there's in Mexico in my childhood, I used to watch The Saint, the wrestler,
Yeah.
and this guy used to used to fight with monsters. And when I watched several of that movies, I just got that idea in my mind. What if I try to do a monster like that that is not like very CGI, is more like the person and the movement and like that. But yeah, at the end, I did it all by myself. Actually, it was an improvisation. the makeup of the monster and everything, it was an exposition. So I thought, okay, I put this in my mind. If you only have two things to create a monster, what will you do? And then it came that.
It's great because with the coloring and everything, it kind of reminds me of the look and feel of a sort of a Universal monster movie from really old. But the design of the monster feels like something out of Silent Hill. So it feels very contemporary, as if like, escaped mental patient, deformed slash raptor in their head with things. So it's got this kind of a weird kind of modern feel to it. So it's really, really good. And it's a really good I can't wait for people to see it because it's a very good idea. It's a very good use of kind of close-up cinematography in a small location. You do an awful lot of work with close-ups and things like that. So again, it hides maybe some of the budgetary constraints, but it also makes for kind of an intense and kind of captivating viewing. So that's cool. So in terms of your history, in terms of the stuff you've created after you made the music video, I mean, I saw another short that you had made. Have you just been making kind of shorts since then and just been kind of experimenting and things like that? Or have you designs on doing something bigger, something longer?
No, actually, my full focus for several years was since I came here to USA in the music videos. What happened is that I create this hip hop project for myself. And because I really like the fancy clothes and the limited edition sneakers, I thought, okay, how can I do one way that I can remember for me and get these clothes and sneakers in one way? So that's one of the things. And the second thing that I thought, okay, because of my normal duties in my job, I need to travel sometimes to different states. And as you know, when you just came across with a good location, a beautiful location in any kind of weather, I just think I need to get this on camera, and that's when everything merged. Basically, I wanted music videos for my project, but I also want to capture every state that I go, and besides that, the clothes that I have, and that's why I started to shoot a lot of music videos for my music hip hop project. But then, in the other hand, because I really, really, really like the movies, I started to think in a lot of stories, but I did not write a script properly because at the first point I thought, okay, maybe I'm not doing that because I know there's a process, several iterations. And when everything changed was last year, uh, for this short film, Thirsty to Be Seen, I have this idea very focused on the narcissism. And I have a lot of things that I need to say. What I found is that I'm the person that really likes to exposure everything that I thought in a fiction way. And I started to do that in the songs that I composed. But then I think, okay, I need to be more, I need to expand my work. And that's when the script for Thirsty to Be Seen came. I thought, okay, it's going to be a challenge for me, but it's a really, really, really neat that I need to complete. And after several iterations that I did with the script, I realized that at the end, I got everything that I want to tell the story that I had in my mind. And it was a pleasure to finish that project. And after that, I thought, okay, I feel the confidence to create these words with the script. And then I had this opportunity with you. So when I started the session short film, I thought, okay, I feel more confident. I have this opportunity. And what if we do something very different or dark compared to Thirsty to Be Seen? Because I did not have anything until you invited me to your short film, the festival. I thought, okay, let's work on something fresh. The challenge, honestly, made me to work on that. And I can tell you that the initial idea, I I changed the initial idea like 10 times. The initial
Hmm.
idea, the initial, yeah. And I have 11 iterations of the script. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's hardcore. Considering the time frame you had to make it to make 11 versions of it. Was there any of those versions more elaborate?
Sorry, can you say it differently?
were any of those versions more complicated that required you to
I,
leave the single location and
well, I consider that one of the things that I did not consider, but that's because that's what happened with my mind is I think in all the creative possibilities. But when I realized that the only location that I have and the only people that I have it was myself, I thought, okay, you only have one garage, you don't have enough budget. So that's one of the constraints. Secondly, it wasn't really clear in that moment from the half of the short film until the end. So I started to talk with my wife. Basically, I pitched to my wife my scripts and I say, okay, this is good. No, this is not engaging. Okay, no,
Mhm.
and I consider that every week or every 2 weeks, I say to my wife the pitch, hey, what do you think about this? This blah 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 blah, and say, no, I don't think so. This is so confusing. Then I started to do a couple of storyboards without any lighting. Even I tried to act myself just to watch the sequence. And I showed to my wife and even my brothers and say, I don't know, he's confusing. What I can tell you in that, I need to say that is, uh, apart from working in the filmmaking because of my passion, I am a UX UI designer full time. What means that
Cool.
I basically analyze the things and improve the things in terms of the mobile applications. But what I'm trying to say with that is my job is to make the things super clear in order that you don't need to ask what do you need to do to complete an action in a mobile application. So that I brought that to the script. If I'm not clear without words, nobody is going to understand the short film, and I need to explain. And I did not want to leave any gaps between any of the scenes. That's why I tell you that I did several iterations at the end because the closure it wasn't really clear. And the other part is that initially I thought I'm going to put 5 or 4 characters more, but then I thought, okay, what is the value of that? Why they need to be in the short film? And the other part is that technology that as you because you already saw the short film, I tried to merge this thing about, okay, what if with the AI, what if with the virtual thing that we are living right now, and with the COVID situation explodes more that using the virtual sessions and the AI now with Midjourney, with the ChatGPT. That was the challenge. How can I give the value and tell the story and leaving the audience with the idea that everything that I put in the short film is because has value and not like, yeah, you put that this character that only say, hey, what's up? And then disappears, you know?
No, it's interesting because about that UX thing is very interesting because an awful lot of times, especially with the films that we've watched over the years, an awful lot of times filmmakers will create a film that'll make perfect sense to them, but they leave out details, because it makes sense to them on paper or it makes sense to them. Oh, I'm doing this because, this means this, but then you project it to an audience and the audience doesn't connect the dots because they don't have the same internal logic that you have when you're putting it together. And you'd be surprised the percentage of films that come through that makes sense, but you really have to reach to understand why. So they end up being pretty straightforward narratives that require a lot of how do I put this? They require a lot of effort to figure out, which they shouldn't. It's not, like unless you're making, their goal is to make something akin to Succession, where you have to kind of, not Succession, Inception, where you have to kind of understand the logic. Generally, what you're getting is a very straightforward story, but that story is pretty confusing because they're missing basic building blocks, or they're not doing what you did, which is kind of workshopping their scripts out and saying, hey, does this make sense? No. Okay, what do I need to do to add to it to make sense? So it's an interesting process, and it's something that I think I'm worried about a little times, that sometimes people would skip over that and just be like, my script is amazing, draft one is deadly, I'm putting it together and it's good to go. And then you're a filmmaker who's surrounded by people friends who are like, yeah, you should make it, you should go for it, and then they make it and then it doesn't make sense to anyone but them. So it's interesting, this kind of workshop element of it. You mentioned AI and Mid-Journey and things like that. Do you think that's going to have a big influence on you moving forward as a filmmaker? Are you going to utilize those tools a little bit more?
Yeah, actually, my focus right now is on Unreal and how you can create the virtual production with the and using your phone. The other thing is that I follow everything related to remove the background. And there's an application that I said that I applied Wonder, something with Wonder that you can add a special VFX, substitute the person that you are shooting with a 3D real render ultra realistic of a robot or of animation. And
Okay, cool.
I'm looking forward to that to add as my tool in case I require. Yeah, and the other thing is that I'm still waiting. I'm not sure it's going to happen because I know there's several constraints that in some point you don't need to go to. No, let me say it again. That there's a tool that you can create any 3D environment like in Midjourney, but without actually rendering you or modeling into a 3D.
Okay, cool. We actually did a class last year at the festival, which was all about virtual production on your phones. And we had in the guy doing the class he's kind of an award-winning filmmaker using Unreal, and he did an entire workshop built around the different ways you can utilize your phone in connection with Unreal and that sort of stuff. So it might be something we might get off the ground again as an online version. So there's scope there. I'll keep you in the loop for that. But in terms of what's next for you, what's next on the horizon for you?
Well, after completing with the festival of Dublin, I have a big idea um, in my head that it's more a short film related. It's a short film about in the genre of drama, and I started with this to think it's okay. Let me start again. Since last year, I have this. I want to shoot a new short film, but based on the abortion, or the abortion, no, not in the from the woman's side. It's from the men's side. But I started to think to why this situation happens. What the men are doing to contribute on this thing, and I really want to create a criticism about how we participate in a passive way. But because, again, I need to validate my assumptions about why the men, I'm going to say things that I don't think the men are comfortable to listen, but I said to think that sometimes these things happen because our sexual behavior with the women, because we have a different way of how to respect the woman. And basically, I want to do investigate a real investigation with the people that I know, with my friends, to know how they understand the sexuality and the woman, and when they approach in the sexual act. And in that way, with that research, I can create a specific script telling about the abortion, but not like the woman should not do the abortion. No. It's like, what are what are the elements that takes them there to don't respect the woman, and when they have this intercourse, they are solving that the woman has a baby. So I don't know if that makes sense. But what I can tell you is that I'm really passionate about this story. I have several have some footage. I have a rough draft, but that's my next project. And I'm thinking to finalize to shoot like in third person. Like, it's not, you are not going to see real people. Well, people talking. It's like you're the audience, and you're listening conversations between those men. You know.
Okay, cool. So it's when you say is it like kind of like a documentary feel where you're kind of eavesdropping on people's
Yeah,
conversations?
but with the storytelling. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it'll have a kind of realistic feel, but it won't be
Wow.
real people.
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry.
No, so be like, are you talking like a fake documentary type almost?
No, actually, have you watched When We're Talking? When,
No, I haven't seen it yet.
well, you must watch, and that's the field that I want to project. So it's,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
I'm gonna track this down. I think it's on my TV. I might watch it later on. Perfect. That sounds really interesting, and it sounds like a weighty theme that is something that would garner a conversation, which is really what you want out of filmmaking. Really, is to have a conversation to challenge kind of norms and to get people thinking and talking and using your work as a reflection of what's going on in society. So that's awesome. What I'm going to do is I'm wearing a nice, snappy, short and sweet. I'm going to let back get. I'm going to do that again. Nice and snappy, short and sweet. I'm going to let you get back to enjoying your day. What time is it there?
It's 9:41 a.m.
Ah, okay, 9:41. That's grand. It's like 3:40 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to get back to enjoying your day. And what I'll do is I will get this podcast together. And I want to thank you so much for coming on to chat with us. I really, really appreciate it. And I look forward to sharing your film this session with the world and also hearing more about your next project, and keep us in the loop on your next project and tell us how it's going and tag us in posts and things like that, because we're very interested in sharing the stories of other filmmakers.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity.
No worries.
And
Perfect. Thank you so much.